Thank you, Dr. Narang, for being a part of this wonderful fireside chat. So we have few questions related to AI. We talked about AI, and we have seen that all the sessions, everybody is talking about technology, AI. And fortunately, our topic is also related to data. We see data till decisions. So, I mean, how is Apparel Group using AI in terms of consumer behavior, understanding the consumer behavior? If you could share some thoughts about it, please.
Yeah, definitely. I think at Apparel, we are going quite gung-ho on AI side. So from the consumer behavior side, we have a lot of data points that we are collecting from our sales data, from the demographics data, and also from the video analytics that we have recently started. So that is giving us insights into how what are the core demographics, at which areas they're shopping, what is the change in behavior, the average transaction values, UPTs, AOVs, and so forth. A lot of these metrics are getting understood on a per brand basis, on a per category basis, and how they have evolved over time, how the discount sensitivities are changing, how a particular set of segment is evolving into a more loyal segment, so that whole transition from customer behavior over time. So a lot of these insights are coming directly from the AI tools that we are using and developing inside as well.
Thanks, Ankur. So let's say there are many brands. I mean, we talk about, let's say, starting from Cold Stone to Tim Hortons to LCW. So almost around, I think, 70 plus brands we are talking about, right? So now something that stays at one place is the location. Take an example. So you might be changing the brand, you might be changing the look and feel, the interior, but the location stays there for 10 years, 15 years, leasing, and all these things happens, right? So how you think that AI, or let's say, is anything to do with geospatial analytics and stuff like this, is helping you to bring about some great insights where to open the next store? I mean, how to anchor our stores with the crowd pullers. So how do you do that particular part?
So I think that's a good point. So essentially, what we have realized over time is that our decision making on location opening, store opening, or essentially rather swapping of stores or brands, essentially is a very fast decision making based on intuition, gut, and a high level analysis of what the core business leaders would think about on the brand side. So we are transitioning that into a very scientific basis, working with partners, starting with the POC. And what we are realizing that if we look at multiple variety of data, multimodal data, I would say, that would span from the particular grade of the mall, the grade of the store, the traffic statistics of the demographics at a particular location in the mall, at particular streets within the layout of the particular mall, or even outside the mall. And we essentially use that data to make very scientific decisions and add a whole lot of data around it, with location of competition, behavior of the users, and so forth, where more children are going, where more women are going, and so forth. Then we can make very scientific decisions, and we can really give a lot of ROI to the business. This ROI would essentially come from the lost opportunity of where you should have opened a particular brand versus what you have actually done, basis more of intuition, and also avoiding the cost of setting up and dismantling that particular brand in that particular location. So when you add that up, that is a very fundamental business value add that is important and a lot of business impact. And given so many decisions that we need to make, hundreds of decisions that we need to make in a year, this would be a very value-add solution that we have actually now embarked on. So that's where we believe that working with partners like WaysAhead and so forth, we can actually get real high value add of doing scientific decision making with a lot of interesting multimodal data.
Great. That's a great insight, and thanks for that. So one thing that I think many of us would like to know, that how AI, I mean, AI, we talk about data, technology, algorithms, for example, but there is another part of it, we call it as localization and cultural shifts. So how AI can play an important role, especially in terms of, if I say, fashion retail. So how do you see that?
No, definitely. I think from a localization, customization perspective, what we do is that we look at tools that give us analysis of how the trends are changing at a local level. We understand how our competitors or even the brands which are complementary to our set of brands, how they are performing over time, over seasons, over last few years and so forth. And what are the trends that are really can help us to make that real big impact in terms of localization and so forth. So that's where we use the tools, then we understand our data, and then the particular private label brands and even for the franchise brands, the kind of target products that we are trying to hit the market with, those are positioned in a way that really take the culture into account and then take basically us in a direction which is very amenable and adaptive to the particular geography at mind, whether we are looking at here KSA or UAE or Oman or so forth.
Wonderful. I mean, that's a great insight. So, taking that same statement into the next question. So, suppose I'll just talk about, let's say, the seasonality part of it. So, one kind of seasonality in data is we know that, okay, there are certain things, there are certain events that occur every year at the same time. But there are some events which are non-seasonal but seasonal. I'll just take an example of, let's say, Ramadan. That comes every year, but there's a shift. How in apparel you train your models in terms of AI? I mean, we know that we have got very basic time series forecasting models, ARIMA and all these things. But now we are coming up with new models like Prophet model is there, which is being used for understanding the seasonality also. So how apparel is looking into such new models and implementing it for, I mean, understanding this seasonality?
I think that's a good question. The time series model have evolved from traditional ARIMAs, machine learning models into more sophisticated models that one can actually end up using the LLM or the foundation models as well to help in better prediction. And that has been proven not only in the retail domain, but also proven in the other domains like algorithmic trading and so forth, where they have a certain degree of accuracy that they give improvement over a traditional set of models. That is one part of the story where we are using more exhaustive models with the right kind of modeling into for that data. The other part is getting into the more depth of features. So in the particular case of hand that you mentioned, Ramadan across the years, it is not just across the years that we see how the last year's Ramadan led to increase of demands across various types of brands, categories, and the depth of hierarchy, product hierarchy over there. It is also that we consider the other factors that this year are prominent that would impact the particular demand. That helps us to make sure that we are better and better accurate compared to the prior years. So both these aspects actually come into play. The actual models which have definitely improved and also the way you model the data along with the features that you add on to it.
Yeah, so because there could be a time where the winter, I mean, the peak season would coincide with Ramadan as well in 2-3 years' time, right? So how that will impact your models? I mean, how that will impact your AI overall setup? I mean, how it is trained?
Exactly. So when you look at that, the particular features about the weather, which is winter weather, come into the picture, then those are the features that we import into the model. And the way they have been impacting a typical winter season, these would then combine with the other features of Ramadan, right? And also the features of the new products that you are kind of introducing in Ramadan. They will all add together in a multimodal sense, and you will have a much better output from the model. That's how it will work out.
Great. So, I mean, we have limited time, so I'm just coming back to the last question. It's a very generic question. We all talk about AI framework. So, I mean, with so many brands, so many locations across GCC and across Southeast Asia as well, how easy or difficult it is to build up one framework for AI that will suit irrespective of malls, irrespective of locations, irrespective of products, irrespective of, let's say, categories. How easy or difficult it is to build up that one AI framework? How is Apparel doing that?
So I think that's a great question. So essentially the framework would be more of principles, practices, and methodologies, I would say, and a set of tools. So you would have a solution architecture in your mind on how you are going to use AI across the different use cases you want to target for each brand. So whether it is design, buying, sourcing, whether it is logistics, whether it is pricing, right? Whether it is more like video analytics, trying to understand your sales funnel in an offline scenario, not just a typical online scenario and so forth, and also combining, let's say, with RFID analytics. There are a whole bunch of tools and use cases that are impacting the different aspects of the life cycle of a product, right? Whether you have a private label or a franchise product. And the core underneath is all the data layer, which is coming from the ERP, the sales data, product hierarchies, and so forth. So you have that technology stack and framework that you have to first set on. That is exactly what we are doing at Apparel. That is the core data inflow, data cleaning, data pipeline architecture that we do. On top of, we have built a lot of these use cases. Each of these use cases have their own ROIs that they're delivering. The next aspect is the interaction amongst these modules on how they deliver the next level ROI, and also combined with GenAI, how they can become more consumable to the users. Because if you throw in lots of insights, it's basically a mental overload, and you don't know really how much to best use these value adds to the best of the profit of the business and the productivity impact for the business. So that is how you kind of build a framework, and that's what we are doing at Apparel. And then we are applying to each and every brand, right? And then by learning from the experience of the brands, the first set of brands, we are then basically doing a deployment at scale. And the next level is the integration across the modules, which will give you the next level, improvements in your business and productivity.
Wonderful, wonderful insights. I mean, audience, just one thing I would like to say to conclude, that not every day that we get Ankur on stage to talk on these matters. And so wonderful having you. And thanks SRF 2024 for giving me this stage to talk to him. Thank you so much. Have a lovely day.
Thank you, Rupam. Thanks.